What's up, idols? It's CC Let's 3. Welcome back to my channel. Every time I share certain types of story times, there's a little part of me that feels a little bit guilty and a little bit hypocritical for not sharing a similar story time that I have on some issues. So I think it's finally time I share a particular incident starring moi. Full disclaimer, this is when I lived in Jeju. I was 23 going on 24. I was real dumb. I was real young. Not to say that people who are young are dumb, or 23, 24-year-olds are dumb. I'm just talking about me, okay? And because I'm embarrassed by this story, I haven't told you about this story. And also on my Patreon later today, because this video has to come out first because it's Friday. I usually don't upload on Fridays because the views are low when I upload on the weekends, but I kind of just wanted to get this out here. So this will go up before the Patreon video, but the Patreon video will be up today because in that story time, I decided to stay on a theme of overall embarrassment. Now, don't get me wrong. What this girl went through is way worse than what I'm about to tell you happened to me. This Korean guy named Sonu embarrassed her and did her dirty. Like, he literally did her dirty. After you see the story, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, check the link in the description if you want to join my Patreon. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It is one of the only things that is actually free in this capitalist dystopia we call life. And please leave a like on this video if you appreciate me sharing something personal and shameful with all of you. Drive up the engagements, go off in the comments, and let's get right into it. So you guys know before you start teaching in Korea, you have to go through some degree of training, orientation, classes, things like that. So I had a pretty intense orientation. We were in Daegu for like 2 weeks, I think. And then when we moved to our provinces, we had further training to do. So I had another week or 10 days or so in Jeju as well of orientation. So I got to Korea around February 3rd or 4th. And by the time I'm in Jeju, it's like March. It's early March. And the fact that it is the first time I've been abroad and outside of the States, and I was absolutely on my own, picking up everything I had ever known, everything I was ever familiar with, and starting over in a new country, it was essential that I make friends and reach out and make connections. So not only was I trying to make friends through orientation, but I was also on Hello Talk trying to meet people. And of course, I was on Tinder trying to meet people. I know.
Shame. 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 I didn't know any better.
And to be fair, I was very busy in Korea because not only was I teaching, but I was also taking online classes through my uni. So I was a student and a teacher at the same damn time. And initially, I wasn't actually swiping as much as I felt like I should have been. And so far on my channel, when I tell you guys about some story times, my own personal story times, they're usually guys in Seoul, from Seoul, even like the occasional trip to Busan. Like I did share a story time from Busan. But I don't think I've ever shared with you what happened to me in Jeju. So that's what this video is going to be. So for those who don't know, while the talk program was active, and even when I joined in Jeju, it was the last year it was in Jeju. So they put every talk teacher in the same apartment building in Jeju-Sicheong. It was in Jeju City Hall. And no matter where you worked on the island, we all lived in Jeju City Hall. So for some people, it was worse than others. Jeju City Hall is in the north side of the island. I worked in Seogwipo, the southern half of the island. So I had to cross Mount Hallasan every day to get to work. But some people had it worse than me because from east to west takes longer than it does to go from north to south. So people who had to go west and east had a much longer commute. So I can't even complain that much. But it did mean I had to wake up at like 6 a.m. to get ready for work. I would wake up at like 6. My bus came at like 7:08. And the bus ride itself was like 50 minutes or something like that. And I would have to take one bus to a stop and meet my mentor teacher. She would pick me up so I didn't have to walk far to the next bus stop and then get to school. She said, oh, it's too early for you to be walking that early. So she would meet me. She was a great woman. I love my mentor teacher. Anyway, I say all that to say, I just wanted to emphasize how tired working was, you know, like how early you had to wake up, how long it took to get back home just to paint. Like these details matter for later in the story. But living in City Hall definitely had its perks because you were near all the movie theaters and the restaurants and the arcades and the karaoke's and the bars. And in my early days, I would just walk around Jeju-Sicheong and just to revel in, oh my God, I actually did it. I dropped everything and I am now living in South Korea. That's crazy. And like when I would see all the cute guys or whatever, it would make me feel like, I should get back on Tinder and try a little harder to meet someone. I decided to go shopping to upgrade how I looked in my pictures because I wanted to take new pictures for the profiles. I also wanted to change my hair, make it more cute and fun, add some color, because I went to Korea with purple hair. I made my highlights more bright. Like I wanted to buy new makeup. I wanted to fit in. I did the most, and I'm ashamed. There was shame. I can admit that now. So because I was so busy, I would swipe on the bus as long as there was no one next to me. Because if there's someone next to me, I didn't want some old Ajima or Ajashi judging me for swiping on Tinder. So I would only do it if there was nobody like next to me or behind me. I would also swipe on my breaks in between classes, because I had a few minutes here and there. So finally, I got a match from someone who responded. Now, getting matches is not hard at all because I'm convinced they just swipe. I would always send the first message, and occasionally you would get a FWB or the emoji that will forever haunt my dreams because I have PTSD, the winky smiley emoji. Because it's never just a smile or a wink, is it? But yeah, most matches went nowhere. And even though I would send the first message, like as soon as we matched, I would say something that I noticed on their profile or ask them a question based on something I noticed on their profile. I didn't want to just be like, hi, nice to meet you. Hi, my name is so-so. You already know that. You saw my profile. So I was trying to be interesting. I feel like trying to get a reply on dating apps is like climbing Mount Everest. It's not impossible, but a lot of people will die trying. So I finally got an actual response from a guy. His profile just said Hoon. So I'm not going to tell y'all. We're just going to call him Hoon. He started telling me how he went to international school and that's why his English is so good. He told me welcome to Korea, tell me how cute he thought I was, how my students must really like me because I seem so interesting. And I was just like, sir, you're saying all the right things. I am very interesting. He also lived pretty close to me, which made him really excited, which I didn't know at the time was a red flag. At that moment, I did not know, and I was completely unaware that it would be so common and so normal to have a guy say, where do you live and do you live alone? This is literally like the first guy I talked to in Korea, okay? So admittedly, we weren't talking that long before we decided to meet up one day. And we didn't even go that far from City Hall. We walked to like this giant Lotte Mart and we got like a tea. Well, I got tea, he got coffee. I don't drink coffee. He got a coffee. It's still cold out because it's like March. And he said, oh, let's just like go for a walk and you can see a bit of Jeju, because I wasn't shy about the fact that I wasn't loving that I was assigned to live in Jeju, because I felt so far from so much of Korea, so much culture, like taking a bus to a random city or a random village. I just felt so isolated on a little island, okay? So he told me, oh, we should go see the sea. And I'm like, dude, like nobody's trying to walk like an hour right now. But at the time, I really didn't grasp how tiny Jeju was. And he grabbed me by the hand and led me in the direction that would take us to the sea. Yeah, we were only walking like 20 to 30 minutes before ocean. And yes, it was cold. It was very breezy, especially by the coast. But luckily, my tea was still hot. Like, I hope this tea gonna be hot for y'all. And it helped keep me pretty warm. So we sat there and talked, wind nipping at our ears and our noses, and we just talked. It was actually really nice. It was dark and it was cold and it was romantic. And I am a girly, I'm weird. I prefer cool weather. I don't like to sweat. I don't like humidity. I don't like heat. I find pleasure and romance in like cool, colder weather. Like, I like to bundle up with a nice coat or scarf or a hat and enjoy a crisp breeze. Like, that's just me. So this night was perfection. But I did let my guard down a little bit because I made the mistake of like outwardly expressing a shiver. I was kind of like, ooh, like it's a little nippy. So he said, say less. And he got like way close to me and then put his arm around me. And I was just like, oh, it's actually kind of nice. And it's funny because all I could hear was the wind. And I kid you not, in the background, because there were shops and like fish markets and convenience stores and stuff, and all I heard was 이 자식은 바랬어 꿈이라면 이제 깨어났으면 제발 정말 네가 나의 운명인 걸까 넌 fall in you.
Shut the fuck up! Shut up! What are you doing?
That song was everywhere when I first got to Korea. And honestly, it is like the most nostalgic, time-stampy song for me ever. Anytime I hear that song, I'm instantly transported back to that feeling I felt when I first dropped my whole life, my whole existence, and moved to Korea alone. So that was great. Honestly, it was a really good night. And he seemed so sweet. He was being so sweet. It was refreshing. And honestly, back then, I was still on a high from all the K-dramas, because at that point, you know, I'd have been applying to move to Korea. I started on October 13th, Jimin's birthday. I'll never forget that because that's when the applications open. I was like, yes, they're accepting applicants still, because for a while I thought the program was going to shut down. A lot of us thought that. And at the time, the contracts were reduced to only 6 months, so it was clear the program was shrinking. So I was like, please give me this chance. I want to move to Korea. And once the ball got rolling and I started to move on through steps, and I was like, oh my God, this might actually happen, I watched nothing but Korean variety shows, Korean movies, K-dramas. Like I was trying to immerse myself before I got there. So as we sat there for a while, he said, hey, you know, let's like walk around, show you some of these shops and fish markets and stuff. And you can see the fish swimming and it's kind of cute and whatever. So he just wanted to show me like a bit of culture. And I was down for more walking because I love walking. So we walked by. And you hear all the various music coming out of the shops. And I was just like, oh my God, it's so Korea. Like, guys, I'm sorry. I was only 23. It was still so exciting to me. I'd been in Korea for a little over a month at that point. And this was like the first bit of free time I had so far because at that point it was orientation, training, work, more training, sleep a little bit, get back to work. So this was exciting for me. I was like, oh my God, free will. I'm having fun. And I can't remember if it was a CU or a GS25, but it was these two ajashis. They were outside smoking and drinking because that's just where they hang out. And they go, hello. Because whenever ajashis get drunk, they speak English to you. I don't know why. It's never like great English, but they do make an effort. So they, hello. And I decided to respond in Korean. I was like, 안녕하세요. And they were like, oh. And then they were talking back to each other because like his friends like, bro, like relax, act like you got some sense. And he goes, 이쁘네요. And I knew what that meant, but I didn't want to let it inflate my head. So then Hoon said, oh, you know, they just called you pretty. And I was like, oh, did they? That's sweet. I just played dumb. I have this theory that a lot of ajashis like foreign girls, so it didn't really mean too much to me at the time. So we ended up just walking until most of the shops were closed. And then we realized it's late and it's cold, so we should get back home. We walked back to Jeju City Hall and that's where we split up. And what was cute is I walking this way, he's walking this way. And then he texted me and said, I see you. So I just stopped and turned around and he was like waving at me, acting like a dork. And then I said something like, Naro bora or Naro boyo, I see you too. So then he texted me, let me know when you're home. I hope you sleep good. And girl, I was smitten. And I am a sucker for romance. Like if you're nice to me and you're respectful, you got a shot. So we kind of started to make it a pretty regular thing to go for walks at night because that's when I had my free time, because by the time I came home from work, it was dark. So we will go on these night walks. He showed me this really pretty like glowy bridge. Like they had a bunch of lights on it. It would light up and stuff. We went to my roof even a few times to hang out and just like attempt to stargaze, but it wasn't a whole lot of stars to see. The area in Korea is quite smoggy, so we couldn't really see much, but we tried. But I won't lie, because after a while, I really started to feel like he just wanted to be like my homie, which I did not have a problem with. Like I said, I just moved to Korea. I was desperate to make friends and connections, whether you want to be my friend or my boyfriend. I just want to meet people and know people while I'm here. It's lonely abroad when you're alone. But like he never, aside from holding my hand and calling me cute or pretty, he didn't really flirt much. And I was feeling like I had already messaged him first and got the ball rolling, so the ball was in his court. It's me and you now. I've been waiting. And I feel like such a hypocrite because I cannot stand when you meet a guy and he's immediately like all over you and word vomit and love bombing and talking about your body and your lips and all those sexual things. Like that's not at all what I'm talking about. But I just needed something. I just needed something from him to tell me like he liked me that way, and I wasn't getting it. So this is when things started to overlap story time wise on my channel. The realest of OGs will remember, I believe like one of the first, if not the very first Storytime, dating in Korea Storytime I ever uploaded on my channel was about another guy. For those who don't know, by the way, check out that video if you want to watch it. So I was on Hello Talk, like I said, and I started talking with this guy who in his bio said like he wasn't looking for a girlfriend or anything like that, which was great because I still wasn't sure what me and Hoon were or what we had. So I didn't want to be like putting out too many branches, you know what I mean? So I was cool with that. I was like, cool, a friend. I love that. And at this point, I started to go to Seoul pretty regularly on weekends, if not like every other weekend or so. It got to the point, I'm with my friends in Hongdae because I was still a Hongdae girl. I didn't know any better. And he asked me like what I was doing. I told him, I was like, oh, we're actually in Hongdae Club. And he's like, no, that's crazy. I think he came from like a wedding or something like that. And he was in a suit still. He's like, yeah, me and my friends are actually about to go to Hongdae. I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like, let me know if you want to meet up while we're all here in the same part of town, you know? So I believe we went to Mike's cabin, and that's when he finally came over and said hi. And even him, I remember there was a moment where I remember I saw him see me, but he didn't say anything. And I didn't want to go over there like, hey, I wanted him to come over to me because I know stop playing games, okay?
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now.
So he finally came over and he was actually very cool, very chill. My friends liked him. He wasn't with the same group of people that I saw him with though. He came over to me and my friends by himself. And I believe it was 3 other girls with me and him. And I remember there were like guys kind of like encroaching around us, and he would like put his arm out to try and be like a bodyguard. Like he was a very unique personality. Like he seemed really, really cool. And at this point, it was the week before my birthday, or the weekend before my birthday. It was maybe like August 8th or 9th or 10th, something like that, like very near to my birthday. My birthday, April 13th. My birthday, April 13th. My birthday was April 13th. You know, we end up exchanging communication, and we texted here and there, me and this guy from Hello Talk. He was cool. He was really, really chill. And he knew my birthday was coming up. We had talked about it, and he asked me what I was doing for my birthday. And at that point, I didn't really have any plans. I wasn't too sure because I worked on my birthday. So then I let him know as soon as I found out that my school had planned. It was actually really sweet. My school planned a field trip to take us to Songsaneo-chubong, Sunrise Peak in Jeju. It's like a tourist attraction. So as soon as I told him that, he was like, oh no. And I was like, what do you mean, oh no? Like, I hear this place is beautiful. I'm excited. He was like, no, but I had a surprise for you and I was ruined. I was like, what surprise? He's like, I bought a round trip ticket to fly down to see you. I'm like, dog, I just met you like 5 days ago and you're flying to Jeju to hang out with me. What?
What did he say?
And it was around this time that Hoon was also asking me what I was doing for my birthday and said he wanted to see me for my birthday. But I was like, well, I do work on my birthday. We're doing a field trip, and I just found out a friend is coming to see me. Didn't really ask too many questions. He's like, okay, that sucks. I wanted to see you too. So when I told y'all about that whole situation, that story time, I omitted the Hoon stuff. I'm sorry. I mean, it's weird. Like, I still don't know like why part of me felt guilty, even though I was single. And as far as I knew, we'll find out otherwise later, but as far as I knew, all 3 of us were single. So I didn't feel like I was doing anything dishonest. And both of them seemed like they were my friends, like not romantic or anything. So I don't know why I felt bad. I feel really dumb for feeling bad, but that's part of the reason I never like talked about the Hoon guys. I mean, even though I got friend vibes from them, I liked them both. I guess maybe that's why I felt guilty. I don't know. So luckily, the field trip actually wasn't that long. We left early in the morning. Like, we skipped class, went straight to loading the kids on the bus, went to Songsaneo-chubong, which was pretty close. It wasn't that far away. And by the time we were done with the kids and we got to the top and got them back down, it had to be noon or 1 p.m. It was still pretty early. I let the Hello Talk guy know that I was just finishing up and where I was. He told me he was going to get a rental car and come pick me up. And my mentor teacher, like I said, that woman was my mother. 한국엄마. She was very, very sweet. And she wanted to like see him, you know, in case something went wrong and she could give a description, but she also wanted to kind of like judge him a little bit. So as soon as she saw him, she was like, oh, he's short, you know, he's a little guy. But then she was like, oh, but I think he has a lot of money. Like, look at the car and he's so well dressed. And I was like, you Koreans and your money, like that's all y'all care about. I was like, I just want to make sure I don't go missing today, okay? So she's like, message me if anything goes wrong, message me if you need us or anything. And you know, I totally love her for that. He picked me up, we drove around Jeju, we went to like the city hall area, we went somewhere it was like wine and steak or something like that. We went to get ice cream. We ended up driving back down to Songsaneo-chubong in Seogwipo, which is the opposite of the northern part of the island. And we went to Udo, which is a little bit more east, like southeast. And Udo is a really tiny island off the coast of Jeju, which is already a small island. And we took a ferry out there. We took little like motorized carts around. We got ice cream. Oh, he almost killed me because he was trying to give me peanut ice cream. And we had fun. Like, this is the first time he wasn't really like bro-y with me. He was like flirting with me. So I was like, wait, I think he does like me. This is a conflict of interest, because I still wasn't sure how I felt about Hoon, who, by the way, throughout the whole date that I'm with the Hello Talk guy, was also texting me like, hey, how's your birthday so far? Hey, do you think you have time to see me later? And I'm just like, this is messy. So anyway, after it was time for Hello Talk guy to fly back up to Seoul, he dropped me off to a restaurant near City Hall where my friends, because at the point, my official birthday plan was going to be field trip with my school and then go to have dinner with my friends, because we all went through orientation together. We were getting pretty close. And also there was another girl in the group who was literally my birthday twin. She was from New Zealand. Her birthday was April 13th, 1993. We were the exact same age, just hours apart from each other. We all went there. And I remember the Hello Talk guy, he went up and like said hi to them briefly before he left because he had to go to the airport. Also, I remember right before we got there, he saw like a jewelry store or something. He was like, oh my God, I didn't prepare a gift. I'm so silly. Oh, forgive me. I didn't prepare a gift. So you don't have to prepare a gift. Like, you flew down here to see me. I just met you like 5 days ago and you flew down here and took me around for my birthday. And also, if you guys see that or saw that story time, if y'all know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If not, then watch it. But he treated me like an absolute princess. Like, he was even cutting my steak for me. So I had dinner with my friend. It was great. I was tired and I had to work the next day. So I get back to my apartment. Hoon texted me and asked if I was home yet, and I said I was. So then he said, can we chat on the phone? I was like, okay, sure. That was out of the ordinary. Up to that point, we had just texted or hung out in person. So he asked me how my birthday was. He asked me if it was good. It was my first birthday in Korea. Did I enjoy it? Did I have fun? What did I do? So I told him about the field trip. I told him about the guy who came down to see me, took me around. He's like, oh, where'd you meet this guy? And I was like, well, last weekend when I was in Seoul, we met up, but we had been talking online. And suddenly, Hoon is like, oh yeah, I wish I could have talked to you sooner about your birthday. Like, I really hoped you spend your birthday with me. And I was like, oh, I would have never guessed because, like I said, I felt like we were homies. When I, tried to express to him that I thought we were more so like just friends, he got so quiet on the phone that I thought the call dropped. So I was like, 여보세요? He's like, no, I'm here. And I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna get ready to go to bed because I have to work tomorrow. But then he was like, hey, do you mind if I come over real quick? And I was like, if you wanted to go back to the roof, that would have been fine. But he was like, oh, do you mind if I come over real quick? At this point, it's nearly midnight. I have work tomorrow. Now, to be fair, on Fridays, I had afternoon classes, so I could sleep in on Friday mornings, but I didn't want him to know that. So at this point, I'm like, oh, dude, I have work tomorrow and it's really late. And he's like, yeah, I know. I just really wanted to see you before your birthday was over. And part of me did feel really bad because I did like him first. I mean, I had been talking to him for a little over a month at this point, and I just met the Hello Talk guy last weekend, as if it was a little bit unbalanced. I don't know why I'm being dumb and trying to skirt this, but I ultimately said, yeah, you can come over for a bit. And I wanted to emphasize a bit because, again, I work tomorrow and it's really late. You work tomorrow. He seemed to fully understand that, and I really wanted to believe he understood nothing was gonna happen because we both had to work tomorrow. And I was tired and it was late. So come say hi, happy birthday, and then say bye. That's what I really wanted to believe was all he was going to try to do.
Now. You're so dumb.
So I go downstairs and I let him in the building, bring him up to my floor, into my apartment. And if you guys are channel members, you see how tiny my first apartment was in Korea. I did a really quick, it's only a minute or two long, but it's tiny. It's so small, it didn't even have a couch. You walk in, there was the bathroom immediately on your left. On the right, there was a shoe closet. You take a step up onto the main floor where the ondol, the floor heater is. You go to the left, it's a wall of closets and cabinets, and you can put the TV there. And to the right was a little tiny square table with one seat, I believe, for dinner. And then I was a little kitchenette with a little mini fridge, and then my bed was against the wall, long ways like that. It was a very, very tiny room. So he came in, he's looking around, he's like, oh wow, just taking in my decorations. He saw my cacao friends, little notebooks I have for decoration, my fairy lights, my Disney pillow, and he's like, this is so cute, this is very you. This is exactly what I imagined your room would look like. I was like, oh, thank you. I'm a child at heart. And he almost immediately started to ask about the guy from Hello Talk that I spent my birthday with. He's like, oh, what does he do for a living? Does he make a lot of money? I was like, again, you guys and your obsession with money. I don't know how much money he makes. Oddly enough, that did not come up on our first date. I'm sorry, I didn't ask. He asked if I thought he was handsome. And yes, I did. I told him, yeah, he's pretty cute, little cute guy. So anyway, he told me happy birthday and he asked me how tired I was. So I was like, I've been up since 6 a.m. I've been running. 6 a.m. I get up, commute to school. Then I have to help load a bunch of elementary school age children onto a bus, up a mountain, escort them back down from the mountain, then go meet up with a guy on a surprise date, run around this island together, ferry to another island, come back from that, and then come back up here to meet my friends for dinner, and then come back here and get ready for work tomorrow. I'm exhausted. And he seemed upset when I told him I was exhausted, which I was starting to get an inkling that he was hoping other things happened. I'm like, so anyway, what time do you work tomorrow? Trying to remind him we both have work tomorrow. Trying to ask him how his day was, just trying to keep it light, keep the conversation flowing. And then suddenly he looked me deep in the eye, started to walk closer to me with his arms reached out. And I was like, he's either gonna try to hug me or kiss me. So I reach my arms up to hug him, but I make sure to keep my head to one side of him. So if he wanted to try and kiss me, it would be awkward. I heard his lips pucker. I know he was trying to kiss me. There was something about rejecting any guy that's a little bit scary. Especially we're here in my apartment, because now that we were hugging, he was like still close to me, like he was gonna try like a part two, like a hug back away into a kiss, if that makes sense. And I'm not gonna lie, there were parts of me that were tempted, because at this point, I had only been with one other guy intimately my entire life. Part of me was like, YOLO, Isis, like this is, do you, have fun, do what you want. Like if this is what you want to do it. But at the same time, I had really liked the Hello Talk guy, and he just treated me like an absolute princess. We went around the whole island together. It was a fun, spontaneous, exciting surprise. Like I couldn't deny that. And then I also felt like Hoon was only acting this way suddenly with like, you know, a fire under his butt because another guy was showing interest in me. And I couldn't tell if that was like a competitive thing or I don't know. So then I like backed up all the way and I said, it's late, I really just want to get to bed and get ready for work tomorrow. He apologized, he backed up, you know, he laughed it off awkwardly, little misunderstanding, you know, he didn't really try anything. To his credit, which the bar is low, but I still got to give credit where credit's due, he didn't try anything after that. And as the next day was Friday, he's like, oh, maybe we can celebrate your birthday together this week. And I was like, you know what, that would actually be really nice. So the next day I was actually excited, looking forward to hearing from him again. I get to and from work, because like I said, on Fridays in the first semester I only had after school classes, so I was only in my school from like 2:30 to 4, something like that. So throughout the day, I was kind of surprised I hadn't heard from him. I was like, oh, I thought he'd text me good morning or something. So then I messaged him and said, hey, you still free to hang out this weekend? And I shit you not, he texted me, I have a girlfriend. You should go be with insert guy from Hello Talk's name here.
He needs some milk.
Now, I didn't know if he was saying that just because he was butthurt. I didn't know if he actually did have a girlfriend. I didn't know if he was like trying to strike up some sort of competitive response out of me, but I didn't argue it. I didn't press the issue anymore. We did not talk from that moment on. And honestly, it felt kind of like the universe telling me which direction to go. You know what, you just made this easier. Like in the movies, right? Whenever there's a love triangle, one guy usually fucks up in a major way and it makes it easier. Like, okay, this is the guy I'm meant to be with. And if you saw the part 2 to the OG dating and career story time, you see why that completely flopped and that did not work out either. But it did make my decision easier and life easier at that moment. So I don't think I was that upset because I was like, well, okay, I still got Hello Talk guy in here. But yeah, this is why I hadn't invited any other guy to my apartment, with the exception of the guy who later on, you know, was my then boyfriend over a year later when I moved to Taeyeon. This was messy, and I think that's another reason I didn't really want to share it, because it's complicated, right? Part of me feels guilty and I still don't understand why, especially since he turned out to be a complete asshole. But then I also felt really stupid for inviting him into my apartment, because I always tell people, don't let guys into your apartment, because we know when they get that invite, they think things are going down. So yeah, guys, that is my shame, one of many. So I hope you guys enjoyed that tea. If you want to see more of these story times, Ben's playlist is about to pop up on the end screen. And if you didn't see the OG Dating in Korea story time, check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Annyeong.